Chairman, I move to strike the last word and rise in opposition to the bill.
You're recognized.
Mr. Chairman, public school did not make me gay. God made me gay. Public school made me a teacher and a congressman. Public school opened my eyes to the possibilities for my future, and it gave me access to role models. It gave me a chance to learn and to find my passion and to thrive. And even though I grew up in a time when people believed that being gay was like a disease, that being exposed to it made you gay too, I was in high school when the Briggs Initiative debates consumed California. The Briggs Initiative was a ballot proposition that would have banned gay and lesbian people, or anyone who supported gay and lesbian people, from teaching in public schools. It was believed at the time that gay teachers were a risk to students, which is the same principle that my colleagues are employing here today. My colleagues are under the impression that being gay or being transgender is a social contagion, something that can be caught or spread through too many inclusive books or a rainbow flag hanging in the classroom. They warn that a learning environment which encourages a child to be themselves is dangerous. Now, nothing a teacher ever said to me would have made me gay. It doesn't work that way. There is no ideology that is turning kids transgender. Kids are simply born who they are, and it is our job as educators to accept, include, and support them as they grow up as who they are. That is not ideology, that's simple human decency. Let me say it again. That is not ideology, that is simple human decency. This bill isn't going to mean that transgender people aren't a part of our schools and communities. They are, and they always have been. And what it will mean is that we're going to waste time and energy targeting an already vulnerable population of students and ensuring that they won't be able to find support or representation in the place where they go to learn every day. Bills like these have immediate consequences. In a recent survey, nearly 70% of LGBTQIA+ students surveyed said that they felt unsafe in their learning environment. And last year, it was found that anti-trans state laws increased suicide attempts among transgender youth by as much as 72%. The Trevor Project, which runs the largest suicide prevention hotline for LGBTQI+ youth in the country, has reported a 700% increase in calls from young people in just the last 5 months. A 700% increase in calls from young people in just the last 5 months. I wonder why that is. I am just heartsick of having to come up here and use suicidal rates for children to try and convince my colleagues of how wrong-headed it is to use the power of the federal government to marginalize one small group of people, extremely vulnerable people, people we should be protecting. They should not be being stigmatized. These are the kids that are most vulnerable to violence and harassment at school. Transgender people are a beautiful part of our society. They always have been and always will be. They do not need to justify their existence, and they have the same right as any other student to a free, fair, and equal education. Now, there are real pressing issues in K-12 schools right now. Billions of dollars in ESSER funds are being canceled. Over $65 million in teacher training grants have been cut off. And there's already a teacher shortage and severe residual effects of pandemic learning loss. And this is what my colleagues on the other side are choosing to spend precious committee time on. All this bill does is make school feel less safe for children. And when you censor material about a minority group because it does not align with your ideology, it sets a dangerous precedent. It does not take long before politicians' ideologies begin to creep further and further into our children's freedom to learn. I strongly oppose this bill, and I urge my colleagues to do the same. I ask the question, have you no decency? And I yield back.